What's up everybody and welcome to the video. Do you suffer with being skinny fat? Do you have a little bit of body fat? Do you not have a lot of muscle? And you're just unsure whether to cut, whether to bulk, or what you should be doing next? This video is going to run you through a few scenarios and give you the information that you need in order to get yourself out of that skinny fat and fix that problem for the long term. This is going to outline the skinny fat blueprint. There's a few things that have to be done first. Phase one is going to be a fat loss phase, or it's going to be a muscle gain phase. Phase two, metabolic reset. The reason why we metabolically reset you is because you've either pulled down metabolism or metabolism's up really high. We want to find maintenance again. And then phase three would be either another fat loss or another muscle gain phase. And I'm going to walk you through how you can make that decision as to whether you go this way or you go that way, because ultimately you have to make a choice to go one way. So this is a few of my clients here at their start points, various points of what some people might consider skinny fat. In the bottom left here, you've got Jagbad. In the bottom right here, you've got Alex. In the top left here, you've got Ben, who was in one of the previous videos. And you've also got Jonathan here in the top right. Jonathan, he's a little bit younger. He's actually looks pretty good in these, but he was complaining about being skinny fat. So I used him as this example here. And I think all of these people could have that case, but they have different needs and they've gone different ways. So number one, you need to understand what type of skinny fat are you, and are you maybe just fat? So how to understand what type of skinny fat you are. This is going to be about looking at what type of diet you have at the moment, the visuals, like how much body fat do you have. You can see the different levels in body fat from Ben in the top left to Jagbad in the bottom left, right? It's very, very different. You got to look at like your general nutritional intake. You've got to see how much cardio you do, and you've got to figure out, like, if you're literally doing like loads of cardio, not eating very much food, and you've got nowhere to go, bulks up a bit, feels fat, and then goes through that cycle again. That is like the typical skinny fat, and that is going to be what we're going to talk about today. Ultimately, once you find out which type of skinny fat you are, you have an answer. Number one, if you're just too fat, you have to go into a cut. You have to lose some body fat. And you should be able to do that relatively easy. And in fact, I think you should go back and watch my how to lose 40 pounds video and just take it from there. That is going to explain, if you are just someone who has a bit too much body fat, that's going to explain how to lose it. What we're going to talk about here today is going to be the person who doesn't need to cut right now. The person who is skinny fat right now and just needs to actually focus on building something to be able to lose that body fat off. And this comes in three phases, which is going to be a building phase, a metabolic maintenance phase, and then potentially the cut can come. But this is what we're going to talk about today. So phase one, this has to be the first port of call for everyone who faces the skinny fat conundrum. Why muscle gain? Someone who struggles to lose fat, who yo-yos up, yo-yos down, you never really get out into a stride to really do one or the other. Maybe you do 6 weeks cut, you feel skinny, you do 6 weeks bulk. You never spend long enough gaining muscle, you never spend long enough losing body fat. So really, you just fall in between not having a very good metabolism and just kind of not doing a lot to fix it either. This is where you have to gain muscle to make that level of body fat that you have right now look even better. You've got to gain muscle to build metabolism, you've got to gain muscle to optimize yourself a little bit more hormonally. So how do we do that? What do we change? First of all, you've got to track the variables. You've got to figure out exactly how you're training, how much you're eating, what kind of nutrition that you've got to do. Is your protein at the right level? Are you training at the right level to be able to cause those changes? And that is literally the first like 6 to 8 weeks of this phase, is getting yourself onto a place where you're eating regularly, training regularly, you're not killing yourself with cardio, and we're really focusing on getting strong over a long period of time. The issues that you're going to have here is wanting to be shredded and waving goodbye to fat loss for now. You have to ultimately say, I'm okay with not losing body fat right now for the longer term project. And this is like a 6 to 12 month project. This initial building phase that we did with Jagbad, we ran over 6 months, 24 plus weeks. He gained over 20 pounds. And if you look at these two pictures here, it might be a little bit hard, but you can see the muscle gain, and the fat gain, maybe it's there, but is it 20 pounds of body fat? Absolutely not. Is it a considerable amount of muscle? Absolutely. And that's because we took our time building up calories and slowly but surely edging our way to improving performance, because performance is what builds muscle, and building muscle is what builds metabolism. And once you build metabolism, you can then lose the body fat. This time frame will be about 24 weeks, which will then take us into the maintenance phase. So this is just a phase where you'd maintain. The goal here is just to find metabolic normality. Been in a big surplus for a while, you've gained 20 pounds maybe, a lot of muscle, you've gained a lot of strength. We've got to find where your new maintenance level is, because it's going to be considerably higher than where it was. So just as Jagbad as an example, he ended about 4,500 calories on our push-up over 6 months, starting around 2,500. And when we pulled down food, we figured out that the new maintenance level was about 3,700, 3,800 calories, which is significantly higher than what it was before. And that's not doing any cardio, you know, everything else is in a really manageable place. Ultimately, how do you do that? You just reduce your food, something like 200 to 500 calories. Just make sure you're not doing too much cardio. And you basically just want your body weight to stay the same, because you have solidified being that heavier weight, being stronger, and being considerably bigger in terms of muscle. This phase might only be 4 or 5 weeks, because the ultimate goal still overarches. So what have we done so far? I appreciate 2 of these pictures the same. We've taken a skinny fat physique, we've making it bulky, we've made it not really any more fat, and all we've done is gain muscle. And we're left with the physique on the right-hand side. So finally, we enter phase 3. The fat loss phase. This is where all skinny fat people rejoice, because finally they are no longer skinny fat, they just have muscle with fat on top of it. Now what they need to do is to remove the body fat. And believe me, when you spend 6 months getting very, very, very fucking strong, and you spend 6 months eating a considerable amount of food, but not too much that you get body fat, over that period of time, you will set yourself up for a significantly easier fat loss phase. So, why are we going into a fat loss phase now? Ultimately, the end goal is less body fat, right? Don't want to be fat, want more muscle. You've got to pick one or the other. We picked the first one. We now need to go to the second one. How do we do that? Will it reduce you another 300 to 500 calories? Remember, we were at the top in a bulk, we reduce you to maintenance, and now we reduce you into a calorie deficit. And funnily enough, your calorie deficit in Jagbad's case is going to be 3,200 calories, which is 700 calories more than when we first started. Obviously, they're his numbers, yours might not reflect those, but he is now in a deficit, 700 calories above, and has lots of room to play with. And then from then, you'd enter the traditional fat loss phase over a 16 to 20 week period. And you'd probably look at losing 25 pounds plus. And when you've gained 20 and then you lost 25 and you're 5 pounds lighter than when you started and you're eating more and you look 10 pounds better, that is when this phase really pays off. So how does that look and how could that look? So I've got a few different phases here for you. We've got Jono on the left, who just went from relatively skinny with a bit of muscle. He's 18, by the way, so he's got a lot of muscle for 18. And this has been the last 6 months work. Yes, he's lost a little bit of definition in his abs, maybe his legs as well, but the significant amount of muscle that he's gained is very, very apparent. But more importantly, he's eating close to 4,000 calories. Then we've got Ben, who was the initial person who I made a video on a few weeks ago, who had to lose that body fat, right? And this is 50 pounds off because he had to go straight into that deficit. And that's over a 6 month period. And then we got Jagbad, who was the traditional skinny fat with not a lot of muscle. And we've transformed his physique. He looks double the width, double the size. And now we're taking him into a deficit. So these are some realistic results of, we've got Jono and Jagbad on the left and right of what a 6 month gaining phase from a typical skinny fat would look like, and then a 6 month cut of what a typical cut would look like. And you can expect similar results for pretty much everyone as long as the adherence is there. So guys, what do you do next? You got a few options. You've cut down, you're lean, you maintain again, then you bulk again because you want more muscle. You maintain if you're just happy with where you're at, or you turbo bulk and get fat to 300 pounds, don't recommend. So guys, that is how to fix skinny fat, if that makes sense. To round up, taper up your food over a long period of time, get very strong, build metabolism, focus on doing it very, very gradually and turning the little points bit by bit. And if you struggle with this and you're not quite sure how to apply it, I work one-to-one with people, motivated individuals, and I turn their physique dreams into realities. You can book a one-on-one call with me completely free where I'll run a full diagnostic on your life, your training, your nutrition, and everything else that can encompass fitness and being healthier. And I will run you through what I think that you could be doing better and maybe how we could work together to achieve that. So guys, hit the link below. I hope you enjoyed the video and we'll speak soon. Peace.